What is going on, people? Welcome to the show. Well, it's not really a show. It's just Wednesday night hobby time. Um, hope everyone's having a good day. I got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. Um, I have had some adventures in my ultrasonic cleaner. If you've been following me on Instagram, so hopefully you guys have seen the shit show that I went through this afternoon. And then today I just finished. I've been painting my death shroud on stream. But I just finished the whole unit of 11 of them, so that is very exciting. And now I'm going to be working on some new stuff. So for today's stream, I'm going to be working on scratch building some Death Guard Possessed. So I have a box of Putrid Blight Kings here that I bought, and these are brand new on sprue, you can see. I also have a collection of Death Guardy bits, green stuff, some sculpting tools. I got some bases here. There they are. And then I also got one of my. This is like my Death Guard Chaos Bits box. It's kind of small, but this is just like my small. This is like my current project bits box. I have another Death Guard. This is my actual Chaos Bits box. So like when it comes to like parts and stuff. So this is just like Chaos Bits. So I'm gonna just basically be using those, and then I got lots of other bits and various other states of existence. So what I'm gonna be doing is taking these Putrid Blight Kings and basically building 4 Death Guard Possessed with them, and using a combination of green stuff and bits and sculpting stuff. So that's gonna be fun. I'm also working on a custom Karn the Betrayer commission, who's living in here right now. So this is a custom Karn the Betrayer that I've been working on, and the reason he's kind of half done right now is because I have not finished him, and so I'm gonna work on him because I was waiting for putty to dry. So whenever I'm doing sculpting, there's always like times where you have to kind of put it away while the stuff dries. So you'll notice there's quite a bit of green stuff there. Today I'm gonna be sculpting mostly his arm, and then working on some of his accessories. Also sculpting his chainmail. So I'm gonna show you guys how to sculpt chainmail, which is hopefully somewhat informative, and hopefully I can remember how to do it because it's been a long time since I've sculpted chainmail. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on today. So let me know in the chat what you guys are working on. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time or just joining us, thank you guys so much for tuning in. The stream is very small still, which is fine because I don't do this for any other reason except to spread the love, and I just enjoy doing it. Um, but if you can, please make sure to like and subscribe on Facebook and Twitch, and click the little bell icon so that you guys know when I'm going live. I'm going to be doing a better job. I made a commitment on the last podcast to post a schedule, weekly schedule, which I did. But the issue is I just didn't follow the schedule. Yesterday I had a lot going on. I had dinner plans with a friend that I totally forgot about, and so as a result, I didn't end up streaming yesterday. So today's kind of like a makeup stream to make up for the fact that I didn't do any streaming yesterday. I'm just gonna throw some tunes on here while we go, cause music's always fun. Hopefully I don't get here. There we go. Little music in the background, a little romantic music. Let me know if you guys can hear that okay. It's so hard to figure out stream technology because I feel like I can hear this. I can hear this. I can hear this. I can hear this. No, I can't hear it. No, I can't hear it. Can I hear it? I can't hear it. You guys hear music? Can I hear it? I can't hear it. You guys hear music? Oh, I got some. You guys hear music? Oh, I got some. Okay, now I'm in some sort of weird echoed loop. Okay. Um, I got some juice. I got some juicy topics for today. Can you hear the music at all? No? Hey Josh, how's it going? Give me like a yes or if you can hear the music. No? No music still? Am I just dancing by myself? Okay, great. Alright, let me know if it's too loud or if I'm too quiet. I'm still figuring out my levels. That's really annoying. How's that? Okay, all right. Well, turn up your volume. All right. So, what are some juicy topics today? I have some drama that I want to report on. The breaking news. The Art of War team has left Frontline Gaming. They have broken up their relationship with Frontline Gaming. So I'm going to get into a little bit of that because I have some, I don't want to say insider info, but I have some heavy speculation, heavy petting speculation. And I also have some, just some very I wouldn't say inside info because I actually know anything beyond what I know, but obviously I know all the parties involved, and I also have worked with both Nick before in the past, and I've worked with some of his ex-partners, so I have a little bit of history from there that I want to share. I wanted to talk about brushes today. I know I kind of talked a lot about it on Monday, but I actually want to go through brushes a little bit more. I may or may not actually go through them a little bit more. I have some exciting news to announce. So this Thursday is our Best Overall Show episode 2 with me and David. But next week we're gonna have special guests. Both Art of War and Art of War Down Under are now basically all the Art of War shows. So Art of War Down Under and Art of War are now just Art of War, and they're no longer part of the FLG podcast network. But some other exciting news that I have is that next week, so if you guys know, I had quite a bit of conversation around tournament etiquette and Clutch City GT and all this kind of stuff. And on Monday, I had responded to the TFG Radio guys podcast about their opinions. And so next Thursday, I'm actually going to have John, I don't even want to say his name now, John Waymiller. John, how do you say your last name? Come on, man. So head judge from the LVO is going to be on the Best Overall Show next Thursday. He's going to join me and David Kozka live, and we're going to chat about some of those issues live on the stream, so that's going to be exciting. And then I'm also working on a few other really cool special guests, so that's going to be exciting as well. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys check out the schedule. And then tomorrow night's Best Overall Show is going to be actually really sweet. Kozka finally got a fucking microphone. Piece of shit. Like, he literally ruined the first episode of the podcast because I didn't realize his microphone was so shit on the feed because in my headphones he sounded okay and I just turned him up. But when I re-listened to the stream, I turned out he sounded like garbage. And then I also found out that like he had been wearing headphones in the stream, so I thought he was using his mic from his headphones, but in fact he had been using his goddamn webcam mic the whole time, and his laptop was like 4 feet away because he said he didn't want to get too close to it because there was like stuff on the floor of his apartment which he was sitting on. So I basically reamed him out. He's a bit of an idiot, but I love the guy and I'm very excited he's my co-host. I'm kidding. David, you're not an idiot. Thank you for being my podcast host. But anyways, I gave him the gears. I told him he needs to get his act together for this week. So hopefully everything's gonna be good. What else? I wanted to talk a little bit about today. I got an ultrasonic cleaner, and I want to tell you guys about that. Lots of drama involved there. Suffice to say, it is in a box currently at the front of my door, going back. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's about it. So let's get going. So first thing I think I want to do. So one of the things that I'm going to be working on today are these possessed. So one thing that's kind of cool is when you buy a box of Poxwalkers, the new Poxwalkers, they come with like 2/3 of a Death Guard dude, right? So like this piece and this backpack actually come in the new Poxwalker kit, and it's just like extra because the Poxwalker kits are the ones in the 10-man are actually they're from the Dark Imperium set. They've just basically repackaged, and so because of the way the Dark Imperium set was cut, there's like literally like 2/3 of a Death Guard dude in there, and I also think that there's maybe an arm in there from a Death Guard dude somewhere I can't find. I will find that at some point. It's probably in here. What do we got there? Bungle Dude, thanks for following, man. I appreciate it. So this kit, if you guys are wondering what's in this and why do I have 2 separate Chaos Bits boxes, because this is mostly my Death Guard stuff. The other kit is mostly the other box that I have. This one here. This is just like general Chaos Space Marines and Thousand Suns. Whereas this box here is like my Death Guard bits, And the reason I've kept them separate is because as I've been working on Death Guard, I haven't wanted them mixed in with my normal bits. And I actually am usually pretty organized with my bits, so this isn't crazy. But I love. Can I just say I love converting? I love bits. I love building models. Like I was a very like prolific Lego builder when I was a kid. Like I was super into Legos as a kid, and I actually won. Believe it or not, I'll tell you the story. Believe it or not, I actually won a Lego building competition when I was like 8 years old at like the local like in Canada. There's a department store called, I believe it's called like Hudson's Bay, or and they used to have a toy section. And back in the day, like toy sections for department stores were like really fun. Like you actually had like lots of cool toys. And my mom took me to the department store one day, and we noticed that they're having a Lego competition, and it was like literally like Lego Iron Chef. So like there's like a pile of Legos, and there was like 10 other kids, and basically you had half an hour to build something, and like the coolest thing went on to like the semifinals. So I won this, like I came like second in like the first round of Legos, and then I had to come back the next day to compete in like this big competition. And I think I came in, or maybe I came in third in the semifinals, and then in the final, like the next day when I came back to do the like big championship Lego competition, I came in second. So they didn't like, you know why I came in second and I didn't win? I had the coolest thing. It was like it was this crazy like gunboat with like fucking missiles on it and everything. But because it was a competition for kids, they docked points from me because my creation was too violent. They said it was too like, it had like too many guns and like too many missiles and stuff like that. Like the other kids made like shitty castles and like dumb shit like that. I made a fucking gunboat with like 1,000 cannons and like missiles and laser beams and shit. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to give you first place because we don't want to promote like your violent Lego creation. So I was pretty choked about that. So fuck those guys. Look at me now. I'm building Warhammer, like 30 years later, building Warhammer and killing it there. So thank you very much for inspiring me. So as I said, anyways, I was a Lego kid, so I've always been like a very prolific converter. I love converting as much as I can. I love keeping my bits. I love just going through my bits box and like finding shit. So I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah. Anyway, so this is one of my bits boxes. So I'm gonna be using this plus the bits I have to build some Death Guard Possessed. I already have 6 Possessed built from previous time. I can, you know what? I'm gonna grab them because it would be sad if I couldn't show you guys my Possessed. Okay. So alright, is that all of them? 6? Yeah, okay. So I previously built 6 Death Guard Possessed using this exact same method. So we got weird. You guys see that? Okay. Let me just see if I can get the zoom a bit better. Up, down. Here. Forces. Video. Oh man, it always does that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's one. So there's one of my, this is made from Future Blood Kings. You can see there's like fatty legs here. And so what I've done is I've taken a combination of front pieces, back pieces, legs, and arms. And I've kind of combined them. So there's one guy. I got this dude here, Death Guard Possessed. Boom, number 2. Using some Terminator bits thrown in there, some power weapons. I got this bro here. I call this guy the Horn Man. So again, just like Chaos Space Marine legs, but like Blight King body. So I've kind of fused them together. So the front is from the Future Blight King, from the back is from Chaos Space Marine. I got this guy here as my favorite. Call him the I don't even know what I call him. I don't have names for them. So they're all got just double close combat weapons to represent the fact that they have plague weapons. We got big hand, little China. So again, just taking like the front and back of like these models and kind of fusing them together. That's one more Possessed. And then I got this guy here. This is the hook. We call him the hook because he got a hook blade. He's got a big fat arm. So again, just Future Blight Kings plus Chaos Space Marines plus all sorts of stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be building 4 more of these so that I have a unit of 10. The way for now. And then I'm also going to be working on the Karn conversion that I talked about. No painting today just because I did quite a bit of painting this week, and I feel like I just want to sometimes. So one of the things with painting a lot is I always like to alternate building to painting. I find that's like the most. I'm the most productive. So always mixing in a little bit of painting. All right, so let's go into. So what I'm going to do now is kind of my process here. Is I'm going to start with the parts that I definitely know I'm going to use. So I'm going to go. I have these 3 bottoms here, like this, that I'm gonna use. I think I might not use all of them, to be honest, but maybe I will. And then I have some extra torsos as well, front bits from old. So this front bit here is from the Terminator kit. This one I believe is from the Death Guard Terminator kit, and this one's from the Plague Marine kit. So I'm just gonna kind of separate out my bits here. These are all fronts. Then I got some backpacks. So I got 4 backpacks here. Yeah. So I got 4 backpacks here. And then I got some heads. So these are heads from basically like plague bears, because I want to give them kind of demonic heads. But I'll probably use a few from the kit here. I got another stomach here. And there's another head, and then I got a few just random bits and bobs here that I just kind of grabbed. I just saw like a back piece. So let's go into this little kind of guide here. So I think what I want to do is I'd like to incorporate the back pieces here with like these bellies, like these crazy bellies. Like this one with the tongue coming out is really sick. So I think I want basically this belly here as one, this belly here. With the nurgling, this coming out. I like this apron belly. And okay, so let's just actually go through it here. So, and then this is usually where I'll get my arms as well. Let me get my clippers. Okay, so let's see here. Let's actually start with, so I got my 4 backpacks, so that's set. I had to use this old backpack from like the old, this is from the old, Dark Imperium? No. What am I thinking it's called? What was the 7th edition box set called, guys? With the Dark Angels and the Chaos Space Marines. Dark Vengeance, yeah, okay. So this is from the Dark Vengeance Chaos Marines. And then these are the ones that come in the Poxwalker kit, so I have 3 of those. So I don't need any more backpacks, so those are good. And then I think maybe I'll pick some heads out first. Oh no, actually I should pick out the torsos first, because some of these heads only go with specific torsos. So I think I want this apron one here. So this is like apron buddy. And basically I'm just gonna kind of match them up here, so maybe like he goes with that. And you guys are gonna see how I'm gonna kind of like, you can't really see, I can like mold them together. And then I want the big torso body with like the big hole in it, which is, where is it? I don't really want any of the armored ones because I already have enough armored here, and I kind of want them to look kind of squishy, right? So, oh yeah, so I need 1 more set of legs as well. So the legs for this 4th possessed, I'm gonna get from the Poxwalker kit. Sorry, the Blight King kit, and I think for that one I'm gonna use, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think I should go with this like fatty distended leg? Or should I go with like this fatty distended leg? Where is it? This one here? Or do you think I should go for more of like this one with the like boots and like the fat pustules like spilling out everywhere? Any thoughts? I mean, I could probably make actually more. I have enough bits here. I could probably make like another 5 or 6 more whole dudes. But what fun is that, right? I really like this guy. So maybe I'll try to make this guy a little bit. Oh, this guy's really sick too. Oh man, see, this is the problem. I could just use these straight as possessed, but then it would feel kind of like cheating if I just straight up use these possessed. I feel like I have to put a little bit of 40k in them. So okay, so let me just. All right, so let's talk some drama though, because that's interesting and everyone likes the tea. So I found out today. Well, and okay, full disclosure, I actually knew about this about a month ago, but I couldn't say anything because it was supposed to be like confidential at the time. But Art of War and Frontline Gaming have split their partnership, which I actually am not surprised by. And the reason I'm not surprised by is because I think, and this is maybe like me reading too much into it. Well, first of all, let me preface by saying this. John and Richard, who are Art of War guys, and Richard's like a co-founder, really good friends of mine. Nick, I'd say like good acquaintances. We've had lots of drinks together. I'd say he's like as close to a Warhammer friend as you can get without being like hanging out with each other. Adam Camilleri, he's like my favorite person in the world. So he's a beauty and like definitely like so basically what I'm trying to say is like Scary does coaching. Like all the guys that work for Art of War, I feel like are great guys. So I don't think this has any. This is what I'm about to say here has nothing to do with their personal character. It's strictly business, and this is like my business opinion. Just so you guys know, I'm also a business owner, and I also do commission painting, and I also like I'm very involved in like these kinds of deals, and like I've done a lot. I've been involved in like ownership changes, these kinds of like issues. I've been very involved with in my life. So um my sense, and this is kind of my sense of what's happened, is this. Um, Art of War, like, by, like, look. So before Nick started Art of War, he was part. I don't know if you guys remember the Brown Magic, right? So Brown Magic was his OG coaching service, and like OG website he used to have, the Brown Magic, and I think he did like a little bit of coaching there, and then at one point he merged with the guys from Knights of the Game Table. So I don't know if you guys remember that. So him and Knights of the Game Table partnered up, and he did coaching for Knights of the Game Table. And then and full disclosure, so because I have journalist integrity, I do coaching. I do not direct coaching, but I do some of their. So Knights of the Game Table does weekly clinics with various coaches, including people like Scary and some of the guys, Art of War guys. And every so often they ask me to do videos for them. So full disclosure, I have done videos for Knights of the Game Table. So I just want to get that out there so that it's clear, like that I have some involvement here. And when Nick left Knights of the Game Table, I think what happened was, and I heard a little bit of this, and I don't know how true it is, but I think what happened was basically they just outgrew each other and they wanted to go in different directions. And from talking to Adam Leons, who's like the main owner of Knights of the Game Table, from my understanding, it was not under like horrible terms or super bad terms, but it definitely wasn't like it wasn't like I don't think both parties were super happy about it. I think ultimately Nick saw that he could get more money, more business, more clients by like if he partnered with Knights of the Game Table to help himself grow his coaching service. And then at some point after he had grown it to a certain level, he recognized that at this point I've created enough of a business, enough of a group that I could probably split off from Knights of the Game Table and actually make more money, right? So he made a business decision, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I don't want to make it sound like there is. So he must have made a business decision based on just the direction that he's probably better off without them because he thinks he can go farther and greater, and that's when he started Art of War. And obviously, they've been doing Art of War for about a year and a half, I want to say, because I think it was in December of 2019, which is when Art of War started. I remember specifically because that was the time I started working for Knights of the Game Table because they had brought me in to essentially be the new Brown Magic, which I will never be the new Brown Magic. Maybe better looking Brown Magic, but not the new Brown Magic. So I think what's happened with FLG and Art of War is very similar to what happened between Art of War and Knights of the Game Table, which is ultimately like Nick and Richard, who are kind of the main two dudes, recognize that they partnered with FLG because it was advantageous to them, which it's nothing wrong with that, right? FLG saw there was an opportunity, and they must have gotten something out of it too, because they have agency. Reese has agency with his company, so he's able to partner with um, anyone he wants, and if he thinks there's an advantage for him, hey, God bless, right? But at some point, I think Art of War, and I'm not sure the nature of their arrangement. Like, I don't know if they're like for being on the podcast network, for writing all those articles, for getting all that exposure through FLG. I don't know what the arrangement was. I don't know if it's like a limited contract. Anyways, I don't know the outcome of the deal, but my guess is just the same that when they left Knights of the Game Table, Nick and Richard looked at the situation, made a calculation, and said, "Hey, we're now at a point now where we think that if we leave FLG and branch out on our own, we're not gonna have to split the pie anymore. So we're gonna get 100% of the revenues, 100% of the exposure, and we don't need them anymore." And so that's exactly what's happened from my perspective. I would guess that um, it wasn't over some sort of like, like Nick was like had his dick out on stream, and so like FLG was like, "Hey guys, we're a family friendly thing, so we can't associate with you." I don't think it was any sort of like drama like that. I think it was strictly a business thing, and I think ultimately, I think it was initiated by the Art of War guys. I bet you they looked at their books, they said whatever fee or licensing or whatever we're paying to FLG, um, we think we can make more money now if we bring it completely in house and put have people go through our podcasts, look at our ads, all that kind of stuff. So that's my opinions on it, and that's my thoughts on it. And since I've been talking about it, I have not accomplished anything here. Let me try to refocus here. Let me look at these models. Okay, so that one goes with there. Okay, but I don't want that one to go there. I want that one to go. Okay, so what do you guys think? Any thoughts on that? Do you think I'm right? Do you think it was a good move? Do you think it's a bad move? Do you think it's gonna hurt or help any of these various actors? Okay, so that one's gonna go there. Boom. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, where's the tongue piece thingamajigger? What are you guys' thoughts on my theory? Hopefully you think I'm right, but maybe if you think I'm wrong, why do you think I'm wrong? Yes. Or what do you think I'm wrong about? These kits are crazy. I like that head. Okay, so I'm just trying to find out. Haha, thanks, Tyron. Oh yeah, ultrasonic cleaner. I'll tell you guys that. Oh man, you did miss it. I just gave a 20-minute spiel on the Art of War drama, but you'll have to rewatch it. Okay, let me tell you about this ultrasonic cleaner. So, why do I have an ultrasonic cleaner? You're probably first asking. Well, because I don't honestly strip that many models because usually when you strip a model, it's because A, you either fucked it up so badly you need to strip it, which is very rare for me. I generally know what I'm doing when I paint, and so the last time I stripped a model because I fucked it up was like 3-4 years ago. I make mistakes, but not like to the level where I need to strip a model. For sure I make mistakes. I don't fuck up shit so bad where I'm like, I gotta strip this and start again. Or the second reason you strip models is because you bought models that were already painted, in which case, which I don't normally do, I hate buying pre-painted models because I'm super OCD about assembly. Like, mold lines have to be perfect, gaps have to be filled, and so when I buy, and sometimes I like to clean up a lot of like the dumb shit that they put on models and get rid of it, and clean them up, and sometimes I like to do conversions. So buying like pre-painted, pre-assembled models, you can't really do that. So I don't generally buy pre-painted, pre-assembled models. The third reason you might strip something is because maybe you haven't fucked it up, but you want to repaint it for some reason, in which case I've never actually done that in my life. Like, if I need to have I've never had to repaint something for the purposes of just repainting it. So long story short, I don't strip models because I just never, yeah, it's for noobs. All right, so with that said, my I don't want to say friend, but one of my arch nemesis, Gary Sacco. Shout out to Gary Sacco who lives in BC. I'm gonna dox him and call him out by name. He said he had a Festius the Leech Lord, which is the special Terminator model, and 3 Death Shrouds that he could sell me for 30 bucks. And I was like, fuck, 30 bucks? That's a great deal because the Terminator model is like 60 bucks. The Death Shrouds are 70 bucks. I didn't even think in my head that they'd be painted because like I'd been talking about getting boxes of new stuff, and he's like, oh, I have 3. So I just assumed that they were unpainted, not thinking. And he shows up with this like nasty ass sack of 3 Death Shrouds that are like painted with like fucking like I don't know what to use, like enamel paint or something horrendous. And so now I had these 3 Death Shrouds that definitely needed to get stripped before I wanted to touch them. I almost actually threw them out. That's how like disgusted I was by the models. Like generally like $70 Death Shroud that are like super rare right now, they're like super hard to find. I literally almost threw out all 3 of them because I was so disgusted by the way that they looked. But I didn't. I decided to strip them, and so I did what I normally do when I strip models, which is put them in a batch of Simple Green, which is like a chemical cleaner that you can get. And normally, almost 99% of the time, when I do a Simple Green strip of a model, the it comes off. Like it comes off easily. But for some reason, because Gary paints his models with like battery acid or something, and like lead paint from the 60s, and then varnishes it with like resin goop, the paint barely even moved. I like went in there with like a toothbrush, I scrubbed the models, like the paint didn't move. So I thought, okay, well, I've always needed an excuse to get an ultrasonic cleaner. Why don't I get one? Because that'll be a great excuse to get one. And so I did. I ordered one off Amazon. It was $100, which in retrospect, I should have probably told me something because most of the ones I was looking at were like $150. And Vithios, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate it. This is weird. Oh, that's why. My thing says 5 subscriptions, but it's say 5 followers. See, I'm so used to YouTube that I don't know what the fuck's going on, but. Yeah, I don't know why it says subscriptions, but I think it was just a carryover from my YouTube days. Also, congratulations to me. I have broken 100 subscribers on both my channels, my YouTube and Twitch, which means I can now have a custom channel name for my YouTube, but fucking YouTube won't send me the email that says I can do that because they're supposed to email me when it's ready. And I'm pretty sure my channel was created. When was the channel created? Is there a way to tell? Oh, you know why? I'm so dumb. So it has to be 30 days old, my channel. And I looked at the creation date and it's February 28th. So I was like, yeah, February 28th to March 24th. And when you factor in, was it 30 days? What was I thinking that I thought? Oh no, it was February 22nd that was created. But in my head, February has 31 days. So I was like, yeah, that's like 7 days there, plus like the 24 days of March, so that's like 31. So I should be able to get the channel name. But I for some reason, stupidly forgot that February only has 28 days. So that's only 6 days, plus the 24 in March, which means technically my channel is only 30 days old, which hopefully that means tomorrow I'll be 31 days old and I'll get the email. I have not gotten anything done here. This is really hard. Okay, what am I doing? Okay, so anyways, let me continue to build stuff because otherwise I'm not going to get done. So I want to use this arm for that torso. That guy's going to go there. That arm's going to go there. That guy's going to go there. And then what do I want for that torso? Which friend do I want? I think I want this fatty belly. The Nurgle. Oh, the one with the hole in it. There's that. So I got the ultrasonic cleaner. I plugged it in, and it didn't turn on. but the light, there's like a little light that shows that it has power, did turn on. So I was like, oh, it's got power, obviously. And I couldn't figure out, ooh, that's got, I like tentacle arm. Let's do that. So the light for the thing worked, except, so the light worked, so I knew it was getting power, and it didn't work. So then I changed, I played around with it, did a bunch of shit, still couldn't get it to work. And then finally I decided to change plugs, so I changed plugs to my kitchen, and all of a sudden it turned on. And then it worked for like literally like 45 seconds, and then it shut off again. And that was basically my ultrasound cleaner. So then I tried taking it apart, didn't work. That didn't work, obviously, because I don't, but like I was like, maybe there's like a loose connection. I checked the fuse box, no loose fuse box. So yeah, so I'm not sure what the next, what I should do next is. Okay, hold on, I gotta figure out a set of legs for this guy. I think I'm gonna pick this armored leg, as I want all armored legs. You know, it's really sad. I bought this $40 box of stuff, and I'm gonna pull like probably 8 bits out of the whole, all the sprues, clip the sprues, throw them in my bits box, and never look at them again. That's the curse of a converter, is that you waste a lot of shit. I don't like that one. So confused. This manual is very confusing. So anyway, so that's my ultrasonic cleaner drama. What do I want to do here? I'll do fatty legs. Yeah, let's do fatty legs. Oh no, let's do this one. Okay, so that's gonna go like that. That's gonna be that torso. That one, yeah, let's do that there. That's gonna be, that's number 4. Now I just need to find his other leg. Somewhere on here. Probably close to where I just clipped it. I feel like an old man when I'm looking at these sprues these days, man. Everything is so hard to find. Hey Beefy, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the stream. You want me to sell you these bits? Oh, these I need these. This is my Nurgle bits. All right. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna get rid of these extra torsos because I decided not to use any of them. So those can go away. This back piece can go away because I don't need that either. So just always getting rid of stuff that I'm not gonna use. So let's start with this guy here. See what we can do. So first, I'm just gonna clean him up first. Okay. Yeah, so that was my ultrasonic cleaner drama from today. Oh yeah, another announcement, if you guys are still listening. I'm doing good, Beefy. How are you, man? What's going on? I'm building some Death Card Possess. Okay, so another little piece of info. So Saturday morning, if you guys are around, 9 a.m. Pacific, I am playing, I don't know his name because he's Polish, but Team Canada WTC is playing Team Poland in a scrim match, so like a practice round for the WTC. So I'm going to be streaming that game on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, so definitely means no drinking on Friday night because I don't want to be hungover for that. And then secondly, we are been matched up against England in the next round of Greek Hammer. So we're going to be doing Grot Rebellion. Nice, man. What is Grot Rebellion? I don't. Is that just lots of grots? Like 1,000 grots? Anyways, so we're gonna be playing Team England on TTS for round 4 of Greek Hammer. So that's gonna be exciting. Well, okay, so I'm gonna glue this little leg on. Did I fucking get the wrong leg? Oh god damn it! I clipped the wrong leg. It doesn't even fucking fit. Jimmy, what is wrong with you? There's only 2 armored legs that would fit, and I clipped the wrong one because I'm an idiot. Oh, there it is. There's the proper leg. See, now I cleaned a whole thing for nothing. So annoying. So it's an army and using orc rolls and some orc units, but they're all converted grots. That's sick, man. How many models is in that army? I feel like that's a lot of models. Yeah, so anyway, so I'm excited to play England. We haven't done our pairings yet, so I'm not sure who we're playing, but I am playing Sisters of Battle against Sisters of Battle on Saturday against the Polish. If you guys want to see me get destroyed, please tune in. The Polish are like incredible 40k players, and also I've never played Sisters of Battle against Sisters of Battle in 9th edition or 8th edition to be, as a matter of fact. So I'm going into the game almost completely blind as to like what the fuck's gonna happen. That should be interesting. So it'll either end in, I think it's a good matchup for me, Sisters against Death Guard, because a lot of their stuff's damaged too. But I think from a player perspective, like he's gonna definitely be like a very good player. So hopefully I don't embarrass myself too bad. Okay, so I got this shit here, and you can see obviously like these parts are not meant to be fitting to each other because this is like a 30k or 40k chest. So I'm gonna just get a little green stuff. And by little, I mean a lot, because I don't want to have to remix this shit. And I always like to do a little bit more, I think it's, is it the blue or I always like to do a little bit more yellow for this kind of stuff, just because the yellow is a little bit softer. And so I find it's a little bit easier to work with. But if I'm doing something where I want like a smoother surface, at the end, I'll go a little bit more blue, because it's slightly harder. If that makes sense. Mystery of green stuff mixing on camera. Look at that. It's like ASMR green stuff mixing. That'd be a cool thing to watch. That's cool, man. I would not want to paint that. There we go, guys. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely, beautiful piece of green stuff. All right. And then the other thing I have is look at this. Isn't this the cutest Vaseline thing you've ever seen? Right? So this is what I use for my tools. For this project, I just have a few different tools. I have a fuck ton of sculpting tools, but these are the ones I'm going to use. So this one here, I just like this one because it's got like a point, so it's good for like sculpting chainmail. I got this little pointy stabber dude that's softer for like jamming stuff in. I got this guy here, which has got gunk on it. I hate it when there's gunk on my tool. Make sure to clean your tool before you guys use it. And then I just got like the standard kind of GW tool. So, all right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit, and what I do is I stick a little bit of glue, boom, like that. Stick my green stuff ball in there, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on top. And this is what I call the glue stuff, the green stuff super glue. Sorry, the super glue green stuff super glue sandwich. Whenever I'm gluing like parts together that need extra hold, I make this sandwich. So then I can kind of freely move this around, so it's kind of in the right spot. So you can see kind of it's attached there. Look at how quickly that attached, right? Now it's obviously not dry. But you can see here there's obviously like massive gaps. So that's not a big problem because we're going to come back and fill all those gaps. But what this allows me to do is kind of position this in the right spot so that it kind of lines up with, like it lines up enough that I can then go and sculpt in the gaps. So there's that like first torso, like that. Okay, cool. All right, so that's gonna set aside. Next, I'm gonna do this guy here. So, very adamant about hold on. Beefy, what inspired you to do a Gra army? Because I mean, I remember from my fantasy days, people used to do all goblin armies. My buddy Chris Brakefield, shout out to him from Victoria, BC. He used to have an all goblin army in like 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy, and it was like Snotling swarms used to be unbreakable, which didn't make any sense, which basically meant they were like fearless. And there were Snotling pump wagons, goblin hewers, doom divers, goblin rock lavas, basically that were goblin crewed. All sorts of goblin chariots, goblin wolf riders. Man, I fucking hated that army. But it was a cool army. It was like an all goblin army. What's up, Extrath? Welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight? Just building some scratch build possessed today. Wondering. What I hate about chaos more than the trim? Studs. I would paint all the trim in the world if I didn't have to deal with the fucking studs on everything. All right, so here again, we got 2 little pieces here that don't really fit. So I'm just gonna do kind of like a rough fit, figure out how these are gonna fit together. So this little nubbin here is kind of in the way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clip that off. Smooth out this front piece. Okay, then I'm gonna grab my green stuff nub. Another little green stuff. Oh, dude, Skaven. Are they good in? I assume they're for Age of Sigmar. So how are Skaven in Age of Sigmar? Okay, so then this little piece is gonna go there. So again, you can notice here, it's kind of like rough, this lineup. Like it's like, look at that huge gap, right? Again, not to worry. We're gonna come back for that later on. So don't you worry. Don't you guys worry your pretty little faces, all right? We shall take care of that. It's all gonna be baby steps in this process. Okay, next up, we're gonna do this bad Sally. Leave those guys to dry. Yeah, I never really liked how, like, well, I never really liked how they made Skaven part of the Chaos Pantheon. Like, especially when Slaanesh kind of fucked off. Like, I always thought, like, I get it, he is, like, technically all the gods are kind of, they're all, like, gods in the warp. But I just don't think he's a chaos god, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, like, I think, like, things like Nagash, because it's like, I don't know, not all the gods have warp presence, right? Like, obviously, like, say, Nagash, if they're going to call him a god, or Sigmar, probably doesn't have a presence in the warp. So to make, like, if Skaven, here's the thing, if Skaven are a chaos god, then they should have demons, which they do, which are vermin lords, which means I want to be able to play with vermin lords in my 40k chaos army, because if they're going to be demons and chaos, then they should be chaos across all the games. You can't say the Horned Rat is a chaos god with vermin lords, which are demons, but then not give me vermin lords in 40k. What do you think of that? You know what I'm saying? Definitely, I think we should get some like some vermin lords up in 40k because they're such cool models. Okay, a little green stuff blob, another bit of glue. Burn there. So the parts what I'm doing, this kind of like weird janky stuff, the things that you really want to line are like the neck area and then the arms and the shoulders. And don't worry about like the underneath. Like look at how big that gap is. It's massive. But we're gonna fill that. We're gonna build like a big gross belly for these guys. So don't worry about that. We just want to get them basically aligned, kind of like front to back. Well, I think there are some Skaven in 40k. Like there's definitely, they're kind of like probably like the like I don't know. There's always like various like races um, in 40k that are like, oh, like here's a planet with like I don't know, like demiurge, which are basically squats, or I guess Skaven the only race AOS race that's not really represented. I guess Lizardmen, but they got the Slan. They're all killed off, right? I guess there are some races not represented, but I wish. I just remember my memories of Skaven. I'll tell you my memories of Skaven. Well, my first memory is my buddy Dan Miner, who has been playing. He's been playing Skaven for as long as like Skaven have existed. I don't know how much Skaven he still has, but he used to always play Skaven in Warhammer. And I just remember terrifying armies of like Ratling guns and Giselles and all the janky like is it Clan Skyer tech. And then also in fantasy they were super gross because they're the spells like the 13th whatever I don't even know what it's called, but something like that. It was just gross. The spells are really good. So I don't like Skaven. Giselles are always nasty. Ratling guns are always nasty. But I kind of feel like would I be correct in saying they're probably one of the only AOS factions that hasn't really gotten like an update? Like obviously we've had Chaos, Order, Destruction, right? And we've had Orcs, we've had Orc stuff, we've had Elf stuff, we've had Dwarf stuff, we've had let's see, we've had Undead stuff, but like Skaven haven't really gotten any new models since like their like 8th edition fantasy. Like I think the last thing they got released for them was Bone Ripper and Thankful and the big rat ogres with like the guns on them. That was during the end times in fantasy. I'm pretty sure that was the last Skaven release, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I just kind of feel like they don't know what to do with them, you know? Poor Ratman. Okay, so there, ladies and gentlemen, are our 4 possessed bellies. Kind of bellies and torsos built. So you can see there's lots of huge gaps in there, but don't worry for now. I'm just going to set those aside because we're going to go back and fix those in a bit. I just want to get the kind of basic stuff glued in. Now for this one here, there's a little back piece I got to track down because it goes on the back of his, look like, little back piece, email, so it's this guy. I hear Seraphon are super broken in AOS right now. Seraphon and Lumineth, they get all the like jank. Okay, little back piece in there. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, what's the first one I did? I think it was this one. So now I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and basically fill these gaps. So what I like to do with my Vaseline here is I'll grab a little bit, like that. It's a lot actually. And if you want, I keep this at my painting desk, this little tiny one, but if you have like the bigger ones, because you can just buy them for your house, just refill it from that one rather than having to, because I don't even know where I got this little one, but I've had this little thing, I want to say for 10 years, almost. Yeah, that'd be cool. So what I do usually with this is I'll just take the Vaseline, and I'll just put it on my like, my thumb like that. So as I'm sculpting, if I need a little bit more, I can just grab some. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the green stuffs, and I'm basically just going to roll it into like tubes here. And I'm just going to hold this really tight. And I'm going to kind of take it there and stuff it in there, grab a little bit of the putty, or the Vaseline on my tool. Get the lube on your tool, very important here. And at this point, I'm actually not doing the full gap filling. I just want to get more material in there because I'm going to do the full gap filling once that kind of internal putty is dry. And I'm going to go through and smooth everything up. I just want to kind of fill the major gaps and essentially put enough there right now that when I later go to add more volume, there's something for the green stuff to actually like grab onto. So you don't have to be perfect here, and right now you're just trying to kind of jam it into all those little holes. And then when you have too much, just kind of pull your tool. So you can see here, this is like super rough. That's okay though, because I'm gonna actually put more green stuff on top of this once this is all dry. Just kind of stuff it in there. And then also a lot of the stuff's gonna get covered up. So like, I know here I'm gonna have an arm, and a lot of that's gonna get covered up and kind of fixed there. You can see here there's quite a bit of gaps. Right, so there's a huge gap there. I'm gonna take this stuff in there. Again, you don't have to be like a A-class sculptor to do this stuff, guys. Like, I'm not a good sculptor. It's just about just pushing putty to like spaces where, and then just being able to like do basic stuff, really basic stuff. Sculpting is one of those areas where I definitely wish I was slightly better. But it doesn't have to be scary, because I know it can be scary doing these kinds of conversions. Scary. Okay, you can see here, like, some of the goop is coming through the middle. I'm gonna push it back a little bit. Back to the shadows. Again, once this is all painted, that's all gonna be like kind of black and gross in there. So I don't need to be perfect. Yeah, you can see here, like, see how I'm just leaving this like huge gap there? It's because, again, I don't need to fill this perfect. I just need to have enough in there. So once it hardens and I go to actually do the nice sculpting, there's something for my green stuff to kind of like sit on. Because right now it's just a big hole. So I'm basically building kind of like a scaffolding for my green stuff. So I'm just stuffing green stuff in there out of line. Now, again, once this dries like that, you can see here again, once this dries, then I can go put the new green stuff on top. And so that's kind of all I'm going to do for this guy today, because this now needs to harden. And so with sculpting, I always find like it's like something you're going to do over a little bit of time. You're not going to do it all at once. Some more green stuff. One other thing you can do, and I'll show you guys here. You want to make your green stuff cheap and last. Grab where is it? Yep, I use Vaseline mostly. Sometimes I do use water. I'm just being lazy. But for like, because the thing with Vaseline is I don't have to continuously wet my tool. This is a milliput as well. I'm gonna use a little bit of this. This is just gonna help bulk out the amount of stuff I have. And I usually like to actually do like a 50-50 mix of Vaseline to milliput. Gross. And I find with this, the milliput gives it like a bit of hardness. So, yeah. Now I'm gonna make a big mess. Green stuff like this. This is a four-way sex party here. It's gonna be 2 types of green stuff and then milliput all mixed in. The milliput's kind of dry and nasty, but who cares? Let's get in there. See what color this turns out. The reason I'm making so much and I'm adding the milliput is because to fill all these gaps, I'm gonna need quite a bit. And you saw that that first little ball of green stuff I made, I just burned through it in like 2 seconds. The milliput's like a little bit more crumbly. It's more like almost like clay, I find. It still hardens the same, and it does harden. I'd say it hardens a lot harder than. This is like, you can probably cut so many clips out of this show out of context. It gets a lot harder than the green stuff, and also I find that it's not as flexible though when you're working with it. Like, it's a little bit more crumbly, I guess. So it's good for certain applications, but for certain things I prefer green stuff, and for the best, I actually find a little bit of milliput in with my green stuff. I'm doing like actual sculpting, because it kind of then it takes on the properties of both. You get some of the hardness from the milliput, where you can like sand it. Oh man, don't even start, man. You want to see my ultrasonic cleaner? Here it is, right here. Ultrasonic cleaner. Hope you enjoy. In the box, ready to go back to Jeff Bezos. Fucking thing. Good thing I like kept the package, because I'm usually one of those people that like when I get something, I like destroy the package. I like throw everything out before even seeing if I want to keep it. So this is one of those rare cases where I actually kept it. All right, so there we go. We got a ball of green stuff, ultrasonic, green stuff and milliput 50-50 mix. Just gonna get a little water in my hands because that feels really weird. All right, I don't need this instruction manual anymore. Get out of here. Okay, so you can see kind of the texture of the milliput makes it kind of crumbly. See, that's kind of like jaggedy. So that's what you get from the green stuff or the milliput. Green stuff doesn't do that. Green stuff kind of stretches. It's more like elastic. This is like a lot more like, but for like doing really big gaps here. So I'm gonna where I need a lot of stuff. It's a good like cheaper alternative because green stuff. Not that green stuff's expensive. Like these little tubes. I got these 2 tubes. I think for like these have probably lasted me like 3 years because I don't do that much sculpting. But like even these, don't buy the GWs, those strips. It's super bad value. But you can get like these 2 little tubes for like literally like 15 bucks, and they'll last you like forever. I just do that, leave them like that, big pie face, pie McPie face. So again, what I'm doing right now, I'm stuffing it. The liquid green stuff is okay. So liquid green stuff is a little bit of a fake name. It's not actually liquid green stuff. So I actually have this stuff here. It's called basically, people call it liquid green stuff. This is actually the good stuff to get. Do not buy, whatever you do not buy Games Workshop liquid green stuff. It is actually fucking awful. It's like super dry, super gnarly, super nasty. The 2 things, the ones that I would recommend are this from Green Stuff World. This is actually looks like liquid green stuff. You can see here. This actually looks like liquid green stuff, and this is actually water soluble, so you can like use a brush to like washes, or Vallejo plastic putty, which is basically like liquid white stuff. I don't use this as much anymore just because I find this liquid green stuff from Green Stuff World a lot better. So don't buy the fucking shitty, don't buy the shitty GW stuff. But basically, it's just like a very thinned out, like I guess like putty, that's water soluble. So you can kind of use it, because green stuff itself is not water soluble. Like if you take green stuff and you try to add water to it, it doesn't like get thinner. It doesn't get like smooth, right? Whereas this stuff that I just showed you from Green Stuff World, it is actually water soluble. So if you add water to it, it actually gets thinner and like wetter and like runnier. And then what you can do is you can use that. I'll show you guys actually in a sec here. Just let me stuff these holes with my tool a little bit more. See, I rubbed off all the Vaseline on my hand. Always important to fully stuff all the holes with your tool before you move on to other projects. So, see, I'm just kind of stuffing it in, and then I'm kind of scraping off any excess. And again, guys, this is not the nice stage where like I'm trying to sculpt anything. This is just like the hole stuffing stage, where the goal is basically just to fill the gaps big enough so that when I go to actually do the sculpting, there's a little bit of backing there. There's like almost like a foundation for my green stuff to actually stick to. If I just try to go sculpt, carefully on this, what's going to happen is as I put pressure, it's going to just shoot through to the other side and it's going to kind of fall through. So I want to basically do a very rough job and kind of create like a almost like a what is it called? A scaffolding. That's the word. Scaffolding for my green stuff, for future green stuff endeavors. So that when I go to sculpt it, there's like something for it to kind of sit on. And then I can put lots of pressure on it. Last hobby night I had with Kazka, he got me to build a war dog. Yeah, Kazka's like a fucking Frankenstein, man. He builds like shit out of shit that I don't even know like you can do. He's the master converter. I do converting and some sculpting and stuff, but Kazka's definitely like the mad scientist guy. I don't think he has any 2 models in his armies that like you can actually buy. Like everything is converted, which is amazing. Okay, see how I'm just like stuffing it all in there? Good, good. And then any excess or like spillover, just like wipe off. Okay, so you can see this guy, like literally that I just stuffed that gap full of shit. It's not all the way up to the top though, because I do want to leave some space so that when I go to do my actual sculpting on top, I'm not like way out. I want it so that it's kind of a little bit inside to the inside this area. This, how big this hole is. That's a fucking gonzo hole, so stuff that in there. Boom. Ugh. Some guy wanted me to paint Tau for a commission, and I hate fucking Tau. So I think I might decline. I have so many projects on the go right now. I've kind of bitten off a little bit more than I can chew. But I asked for it, I guess. Okay, so see here again, I just like stuffing a bunch of shit in there. Yeah. Now, before I didn't have enough green stuff, and now I have way too much. I have all this left just for this one guy. Oh, Jimbo. Alright. One thing you got to be careful of though if you're using Vaseline is to make sure to wipe it off before you prime your model. Because if you leave it on and then you go to prime the model, you're going to end up with like Vaseline everywhere. Like it's just the primer's not going to stick and stuff. It's good. A disaster. So I just usually take like a wet brush and I just like a dry brush almost, and I just kind of dry brush it off. Get in there. Get in there. Tau suck, man. I never liked Tau. Like, the models are just, I don't know. They just have no, like, personality to them. I feel like they're super boring. I wish there was, like, you know how, like, you know what they, okay, so hear me out for a sec. You know what they did to, like, the Indominus Marines? Like, how, like, they took the intercessors and they were like, these are the veterans. These are the, like the Blade Guard veterans, for example. They're like, these guys are now, they've been fighting in like the, you know, Indominus Crusade for like all these years, and now they're all like tricked out with like all this like shit. It would be so cool if they did like a Tau release where it was like the fourth sphere, whichever sphere of Tau it was that got like basically somehow ended up in the warp, because I think one of the expansions that they don't talk about ends up in the warp. It's like the third sphere or the fourth sphere, something like that. So it would be cool if they did like a Tau release where it was like Tau fourth sphere, fourth expansion or whatever, and it was like full on Event Horizon, like they'd all come back from like the warp after like 100 years missing, and they were all just like full chaos, like fucking grizzly heads, like demon arms, maybe not demon arms, just full on like 100 years of fighting, like just super like ragged and like jacked up from all the warp energies, and just super like, I don't know, detailed with like lots of like shit going on, like chains and fucking marine armor strapped on because like they couldn't find any Tau shit, and like they got fucking beasts and demons that they've found in the Eye of Terror and shit. So I don't know. Would you guys think that's a crazy idea, or would you guys be into that? Fucking Chaos Tau. They don't even have to be Chaos. They could just be like kind of grizzled veterans, almost like, you know how the Wolfen for the Space Wolves were like kind of Eye of Terror alumni. It'd be cool if Tau had like a Eye of Terror version, whereas like they've come back after like 100 years of being lost in Eye of Terror, and they've just like they've just turned into like total badasses, and it like reflects that. Yeah, Tau would be cool if like Kroot were cool and Vespids were cool. That would be cool. Like if Vespids and if they expanded the Vespid thing and like added some Demiurge and made Kroot actually like good, and like a Tau force was like a mix of like Tau, Vespids, Kroot, Demiurge, maybe a few other like random races in there, like fucking Zotes running around in the back. That would be really cool if it was like it was actually like a cool like alliance race. You know, it's like the one race in 40k that's not xenophobic, because all the other armies are like single race, right? Except Chaos, but that's, I wouldn't consider demons like a race, right? So this is the moving on to back to this what I'm doing. This is the Karn conversion I've been working on. So what I'm going to do here is you can see here on the arm I started sculpting the bicep, but because there's a big gap there, I just did the scaffolding. So now I'm actually going to build up the bicep a bit, and I'm also going to do some chainmail as well. And the reason that, and I'm going to show you guys how I do chainmail. So I'll give you guys a little demo on chainmail, which will be exciting. You got to learn how to make chainmail, so stay tuned for that. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just add a little bit. I always find this putty, when I'm doing really small amounts, easiest way is to kind of roll it out. Just make like little tubes, like little snakes, and then work with like little snakes like this, rather than trying to like do a fuck ton. So I'm just going to grab a little Vaseline. And just be careful you don't get Vaseline on the actual thing that you're trying to stick the putty to. So what I'm trying to basically sculpt here is a bicep muscle. He's got parts of like the bottom of the bicep, but I want like a bicep here. Just blend this in. And one thing that, if you're ever sculpting like anatomy, one thing that's always helpful is actually like get some reference images, either from other models or just like actual like animals and shit. So whether it's like a human, or just so you understand like how different muscles kind of feed into each other, where the bulk of a muscle is, like on a bicep, like where is the actual like muscle start and end. You know, it's like weird looking anatomy. I'm not going to do any of that, so I'm not going to follow any of my instructions. I'm just going to pretend that I know what a bicep looks like, or just use your own bicep, right? If you have some. I don't really have muscles, so years of painting and gaming gets you instead of working out. So one thing I might do here, so I've got a little Vaseline on my hand here. I'm going to add a little, I literally just dump it on my palette, or on my little board here. I'm just going to use the back of this, and the reason I like the little water with the milliput mix is because milliput is water soluble, so it can really help with smoothing out. get like a very sharp. I just want to make sure there's like a gap there. This muscle, like it's kind of odd shaped right now because the bulk is towards the bottom, so I'm just going to push some of the I'm trying to focus for a sec. Quiet, I'm going quiet. Putty, a little water, Vaseline. And one of the biggest things with sculpting is just like being patient, right? Like you do a little area, and you want to kind of continue playing with it, but like sometimes it's really about building up layers over time, and so not trying to do too much at once, like really letting models dry, the putty dry in between, and then kind of reassessing. And sometimes that means like you do an area, you let it dry, and then you might notice that like it's not quite exactly how you wanted it. So like literally ripping it off and starting again. Adding a little bit of a curve here. Sculpting tool. Naturally flow. Alright, so there we go. So you can see here, I've basically sculpted in a little bicep because he didn't have a bicep before. Because I had this arm is not from Karn model. But what I'll do here is I'm gonna wait a little bit, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of bulk. You can see his legs here, how one's a lot fatter than the other. This one here, because this one I did actually a sculpt, but I didn't like it. I got mad at it, so I ripped it off. So I'm actually gonna do that. Try that again today. So for this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my little ball. I'm gonna roll it. Little sausage. Okay. And this is where a little water is good because you can like put it on your palette and then use that as a thing to push your model down. Other thing I would recommend having is if whenever you're sculpting is a little bit of like plastic card or plastic like this to like do your actually like attach things to. Something flat like this. That's not your cutting mat because what's gonna happen is like you're gonna get a lot of like this is super smooth, so I'm not gonna pick up any texture off my cutting mat. So you can see here, I'm just basically pushing this down. I'm gonna cut off. I'm just trying to make like a flat piece. Okay, then I'm gonna lift it up. Now this side of it that I just picked up is gonna be super smooth. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little bit of a transplant. I'm gonna take it. I'm just gonna pinch it. Around. Pull very carefully. Adding a little Vaseline because I don't want it to stick. And again, I'm not too worried right now because this is gonna get, I know this looks ridiculous, but I'm just trying to get the putty in the right spots right now. And then I'm gonna go through and actually form it, and pull off what I don't need. Come on. Okay, that didn't work. Just ignore everything I put too much water into it. Try this. Then there's the brute force method where you just take your fucking tool and you jam it in. They stay. This is why I also like to use Vaseline, because for things like that are, if it's a water soluble putty, like milliput, you don't want to be adding water into it. gonna thin it out, whereas Vaseline won't do that. Go. See this again, this looks really ugly right now. It's coming together, okay? Just pull off any excess. Vaseline. I'm actually not that great of a sculptor. There's like some trying to figure that a lot of sculpture stuff out, but I can do the basics, you know, make some basic shapes. Like to sculpt a face would be like impossible, but to like sculpt a cylinder, I can definitely do that. And always removing any extra as you don't need it. I'm gonna get this leg done, guys, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to sculpt some chainmail. Chainmail is one thing that I can do. Back. Material in areas where I don't need it, and adding it to places where I need it. Yeah, and honestly, everything looks shitty until you like prime it and paint it, and then 90% of your flaws just... Good point, Xerath. Did I pronounce it? So as I'm going, I'm kind of adding a little water because I do at this point, now that it's like a little bit closer to final, I want it out, and the water helps me. Hey, Stalwart. It's good, man. How are you? What you got going on? Thanks for tuning in. Painting some Warhammers, or sculpting some Warhammers. Subject to anyways. That's not true. You probably say it a certain way in your head, right? So, however you say it is the correct way, because you made it up. That's the rule with made-up words. Whoever invented it gets the... Okay, so now, guys, you can see here, I've got like most of the shape in, and now what I want to do is basically smooth it out. So that's where like my little tool can come in, and this is where I'm gonna kind of really carefully pull down all in one direction, pulling out any sort of pieces, getting any excess putty that I don't need out of there.
back to other tools as well, just as I need them. Always just mindful of, as Yoda says, be mindful of what you're doing. See here, I don't know if you guys can see. There's two little gaps here. Like this here, there's like a ridge, and then here I've created one as well. Well, I'm gonna actually go later, and I'm gonna sculpt in the ribbing that's in between their joints. Like that's why there's like a gap there and like a little bit of an overhang. So I will actually go and sculpt in the ribbing here. And then one thing I can do too is once this is dry, I can then go back with my knife and I can kind of cut away anywhere there's like extra material that I don't want, or if it's not smooth, I can use my knife to smooth it, kind of like by scraping along. All right, there we go. So I got the second kind of back leg done. It's now as thick as the first. Again, it looks a little gnarly from the front, but trust me, that's quite smooth. You can't really tell from the video. Oh shit. But it is quite smooth along that. Oh shit, except when I put my finger in it like that and then I ruin it. So just be careful of that. God damn it, Jim. You could do that. Your finger in it. That's the biggest mistake I usually make when I sculpt is bring my own. Okay, so that's done. Alright. Ish. Done-ish. Extra out. Then Mixer, thanks for the subscription for the follower. Sorry, man. Or did you subscribe? I can't tell, man. Subscriptions and follows is like, I'm very confused. Back and forth with YouTube and Twitch, so not sure if it's a subscription or a follow, but whatever you did, appreciate it. Okay, so start the debate. Oh, thanks for the subscribe too. Hey, give me your. If you have the Bezos bucks and you guys don't want to use them, hey, I'll take them. Jeff Bezos fucked me with this ultrasonic cleaner, so I think it's just right that. I don't know, man. I don't even know the difference, to be honest. Okay, so that's done. So that part of the sculpting is done. So I'm just gonna do a little quick tutorial on chainmail, how to sculpt some chainmail. So I'm gonna I'll try to do it nice and big for you guys, so that you guys can see. So first thing that's really important to understand whenever we're sculpting chainmail is there's two ways to do it. So you can either sculpt it onto something like a flat surface. I don't know, man. I'm not that advanced, so I gotta figure out how to do all that stuff. This is only like my third or fourth week streaming, so I'm still working. Actually, I'm getting a whole like rebrand of all the graphics. It's still being worked on. So maybe the emotes is something that I'll bring up, but like I don't know anything about that. I'm just a painter. So, all right. So going back to chainmail, little chainmail tutorial. This is gonna be the last thing I do, and then I'm gonna log off, grab some dinner. So, first thing that you want to do is just figure out where you're gonna sculpt it. So on this model here, you can see that there is a chainmail like tabard and then it's cut off. It's because the middle part of his legs is actually from another model and I cut off the chainmail. So later I'm going to go sculpt in the chainmail both on the front and the back. You can see kind of just ends into nowhere right there. So in a case like that, before I go to sculpt it, just like I was doing before, I'm going to build a little scaffolding just like these models, to actually for that chainmail to sit on. Okay, so that could just be a piece of putty that I take like this, right? Flatten really, really thin, let it fully harden, and then kind of glue on there, and then and kind of cut to the dimensions of my model. So what I would normally do, and I'm gonna actually do it right now, I'm gonna take this a little bit of green stuff, green stuff, and I'm gonna grab, what I'd recommend having is one of these. What do I want here? A little bit of, this is a little bit of this is a little bit of tubing. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of plastic card tubing. I'm gonna basically roll out my green stuff here, adding a little bit of water. Probably too much. Okay, so get rid of that. Just like rolling pizza dough, you know? Or like making cakes. So I'm gonna roll this out. And this is why I'd recommend using Vaseline, because you don't want water. This is like milliput, which is water soluble. So it'll actually start to break down. So make sure to really lube your tube when you do this really well. And it'll flow nice and smooth. Okay, so there's our quite flat, I mean it's hard to see, quite flat from the side there. A little bit of green stuff. So what you're gonna do now is, for the purposes of this project, or for this training, I'm gonna just pull some of this away, because I'm gonna save some of it for my model. So let's say half of this is gonna be saved for my model. Come on, get out of here. Okay, so that I'm gonna put away. It's gonna dry. And for today's lesson, I'm gonna grab another little piece of stuff. I'm gonna put it down. And again, a little bit of lube. There. That'll just help. And then lube your tube. Is there lube the tube? I hope there is. Okay, so as I mentioned, when you're doing chainmail, and I'm just gonna do it kind of rough here, rough shape. There's two ways to do it. The first way is to do it on your model, in which case you'll want to do what I just did, which is roll out a piece of really thin green stuff, let it fully cure, cut it out to the shape-ish of the green stuff that you want here, and then kind of glue it on, so it's like you have kind of a flat place to work on, because you're not going to be able to sculpt chainmail into thin air. So like if you're trying to sculpt green stuff like here, like a green stuff cloth loin, for instance, and it's like here, you need a flat surface to do that. And because you're going to be pushing in to do the little coils, if there's nothing behind it, it's just going to get pushed through. It's not going to work. In addition, also, say you're doing it on a larger model. Say I want to sculpt some green stuff. Like, say I wanted a green chainmail his whole belly. Well, I couldn't just start green stuffing on top, because again, it'll go through. So you need a scaffolding. You need like a little platform for to sculpt it on. So that's if you're going to sculpt it on the model. But sometimes you might sculpt it off the model, like I'm about to show you guys, and then transfer it, and then maybe cut it out, transfer it. So what I'm going to do here is pull this out. You don't want to go too thin on this layer, because you want there to be a little bit of life. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of cut this using my knife kind of into a tabard shape, so that you guys kind of get the idea of like what like a green stuff tabard might look like. I'm not a very good tabard maker. Okay, so let's pretend this is like a tabard that's gonna go on like a big model. Okay. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna get, now that I've done lubing my tube, I'm gonna get I want a tool like this. So this is basically like, this is a set of sculpting tools. Guys, sculpting tools on like Amazon are so cheap. I got a full set of like 12 of these of various shapes, and then I got like a 30 set of these like wooden ones for for like each one was like $10, and it's like way too many tools more tools that I'll ever use. So what I'm gonna do here is on my flat sculpt, I'm gonna pick my direction for my first like thing, and I'm basically gonna make little D's. So D's. So watch how I do this. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna pull to the right, 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 and poke in, pull to the right, poke in, pull to the right, poke in, pull to the right. Okay, so far it looks like I've just made a series of dots. Kind of hard to see. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna pull to the left, and I'm gonna do slightly below. I'm gonna kind of do that. So now I'm pulling to the left. Okay, now I'm gonna go the other side, pull to the right, dot in, pull to the right. And there's like little chunks of like dry milliput in here, so it's kind of looking a little bit weird. Right. Pull to the left. So this you're just gonna alternate back and forth, down, pushing in, and then pulling over. There's a big chunk of dried milliput here, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Bring up my tabard. In and right, in and right. And you want to go as close to the row above it as you can, and pull just a little bit, and then opposite way. So just continue. You're kind of making little C shapes. Okay, and then you're just gonna continue this all the way down, and that's what you're gonna end up. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I did this kind of quick, and this putty's not the greatest, and obviously I'm a little bit out of practice, but you guys get the idea. And then if you need to, you can go in and again, then you can kind of do this on any surface. This doesn't take too long. Basically poke and pull, poke and pull. Thanks for tuning in, Brian. Hope you enjoyed everything. Take care, my friend. Just like that. And that's how you're gonna do chainmail. Voila. Now we have, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna let this dry, and then you're gonna pull it off and attach it to whatever thing that you need chainmail on. Cool? Cool. Alright. That's it for the stream, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a happy Wednesday. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., Best Overall Show, Episode 2 with David Kozka. We have some really exciting things to talk about. We're going to talk about some Warhammer drama. We're going to talk about judge scoring versus paint scoring, all sorts of other stuff.